Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Once again, it is your boy back with Black Conscious Convo. I'm your host, Chris Diggins. Today's guest I got with me a man. I don't even honestly know how to exactly explain this man. He is a teacher, a believer, a man of sacrifice, an instrument who plays instruments.
Sure, right.
I would like for you guys to meet Mr. Vincent Johnson.
Wow, thank you.
How's it going today?
Blessed, man, with that kind of introduction,
You,
Blessed, brother, blessed. Wow.
when you care about the kids, for me, that is an individual who cares about the future.
For sure, right.
There was a statement that says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
That's right.
Not for his children, but for his children's children. Meaning that the people that come after his children need to be looked out for.
That's right.
Because he was there for his children.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Speaking truth right there. I mean, you can't, just to go off of that, you can't take care of self without taking care of community, right? And taking care of community also, is taking care of self. So one is not exclusive of the other.
Right.
So when you're looking at, young people, when you're looking at, even elderly, you have to be that. And at that time, when I was working with young people, realizing that I had to be the gap. I was the filler of the gap. So, you have young people that they're looking up and maybe they're shooting high and they want to shoot really, really high, but they don't realize, okay,
there's a lot in between.
You're shooting, there's a lot in between that. And so you're shooting so high that
there's nothing wrong with it.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but you're shooting so high that you can be discouraged when you don't hit that high mark. So then you have somebody like me who comes along and says, okay, there's nothing wrong with shooting super high, but maybe you shoot just a little lower. And that's not to say to take away or this whole crab in the bucket theory. That's not a
reality to it, basically.
Well, yeah, because you have to have an accomplishment.
Yes, it's
right.
Goals.
You have to have an accomplishment. You have to be able to have a win.
People, okay. I totally grasp that. By the way, today I am rolling up some white. Y'all know, Vertus, that's my group. That's my company right now. They have marijuana in dispensaries all across the city. I went to Golden Meds once again, got that. Golden Meds is going to be our dispensary to go to for the month, for the rest of this year. I'm just going to let y'all know. They have cookies. They have Vertus. They have so many different varieties of fire. Like I said, cookies. We won't even. I mean, if it's fire, they have it. I am rolling a joint this time because my friend right here does partaketh, just not today.
Yeah, I have my,
Things that you do.
well, yeah, right. Because that CBD for me is really big deal to utilize the CBD. Because as you get to a certain age, you got to roll it on or rub it on. So the CBD is real important to me. So it does have its benefits.
I have CBD. Shout out Dragon. I keep the indicacy for when the weather changes.
Okay. Well, you're a survivor.
Right.
You're a survivor. So
That
tell me about that, man. Tell me what that for you having been a cancer survivor is a really big deal.
In general, for me being a survivor, whenever the weather changes 25 to 30 degrees drop high or low, my body feels horribly.
Okay.
And it just doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? Like, just in general, I get sick off the things that everybody else would just shake off. So if somebody sneezed and they had a slight touch of a cold or the flu, I would catch that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But for them, if it's just like they just got activated in them to where they could fight it off,
right?
For me, it would onset instead of me fighting it off.
Yeah.
So it's not like, once again, everybody thinks, oh yeah, you beat cancer.
Right.
I did. However, I have to pay attention to what caused said cancer.
Right.
Nobody knows. Only thing we do know is this: our body makes sugar naturally. Our body makes sugar. One of the main things with tumors is glucose. A lot of people don't know that information. A lot of the main thing with the tumor is glucose. So, beyond that, this is not about me, though.
Well, I like to catch up with you, man. Because I'm. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Well, because we worked together many years ago, and doing music and stuff. And
where did I meet you at?
Oh man, the spot. Yeah, Denver, Colorado is the spot, man. We had we had 7. We all together built it. It was really cool because we integrated you through this. We built 7 studios.
This is a nonprofit.
It was nonprofit. Nonprofit.
20th and Stout. It was there for years.
Yeah, that's right. And we built. We were the first in the United States to have an after school, daytime, nighttime drop-in center for young people to come in and record music from start to mastering to finishing to actually getting CDs, packaging them up, and bam, hitting the streets and going out and actually making money to give young people another option, right?
For
themselves. And man, you guys were coming back. Well, first of all, you guys were blowing me away because you guys were coming back between you, LP, and Cubby. You guys were coming back with like a knot of cash. And I'm like, man, what y'all been selling? It's like, well, CDs.
Me, myself, we already know.
Yeah.
I wasn't with them. I was still in the streets at the same time.
Yeah, all y'all was. But you were in the streets.
I also knew how important it was,
right,
that the youth had some guidance when it came to music industry, especially here in Colorado, because
right,
one, the history of entertainment itself. One, the history of entertainment in Colorado has always been something that a lot of people do not really pay attention to. One of the most prolific groups in history come from Denver, Colorado. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest tell-all stories.
Yes, it is.
To ever hit America, honestly, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get history of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right. Right. Well, it'll come to pass. It'll come to pass because there's too much Denver history, and they left from Denver and went to California, right? Because the labels pulled them out to California.
Well, even at that though, when it came to big band and funk,
right,
that was all West Coast.
Yeah. That was
You had the
Oakland, and you had the whole Oakland sound.
Well, you had back east was jazz and it was little blues.
Right. That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's right.
It was something that you could put into a small juke joint.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in the East Coast, the West Coast, they was like, give us that funk.
Right.
And we got that funk with a band, and it was amazing.
Yeah. And they was including horn sections and bass runs, and the band was popping and hitting. So when Earth, Wind, and Fire left Denver and they went to California, Maurice Wright actually went to Metro. A lot of people don't know that. He went to Metropolitan State. Well, now it's university. Then it was Metropolitan State College.
It's what?
Metropolitan State College. Now it's university.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, at that particular time, there was more than just Maurice that was writing those tunes. There's cats here in Denver who, were writing those pieces, who were writing those tunes.
See, and nobody talks about that.
Right.
I apologize. I was looking for my phone. Don't worry, I didn't walk away. Oh, it's right here. Once again, this is reality in the making. This is the show. Just in general, you, as I stated, are an instrument who plays instruments.
Right.
How do you like people spoke of like that?
Well, because I worked my butt off real hard on it, I actually like it. I appreciate it, right?
When I first met you,
I paid a price for it, right?
When I first met you, I was trying to figure out why you weren't in the business and why you were giving all your time to children.
Well, that's a good question, man. Because I made sacrifices. I made sacrifices to help and to take care of other people when I had an opportunity. I was actually living in Minneapolis at one point after I went to Berkeley and did all this stuff and touring. And
right. That's another thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Let's honestly, give the people a background of you. Let's start with when you started playing music.
Oh man, that goes back a long time. I don't know if we got that kind of time, but I started playing music as a very young man.
What was the very first instrument you played?
That's interesting that you asked me that, because the very first instrument I learned how to play was the one that taught me how to fight. Yeah, because you growing up in the hood, 5 Points area, you growing up in the hood, right? Okay, so I learned how to play the violin. See? Okay, so you get right. You got a little young brother who's walking home back and forth to school, and he got this little violin, right?
Violin case,
right? And so that violin taught me how to fight. I had to learn how to fight.
I could totally understand that, especially growing
Right.
up on the east side.
Right.
Niggas are like, that ain't no guitar,
Yeah, right. Yeah, what you got, a little violin?
right? That ain't no bass.
we about to kick your butt because you ain't even got a real instrument to play the toy. So
yeah.
you know, I that very first instrument, which was the violin, taught me how to fight, man. And I had to defend myself, defend my violin. I go home, clothes be all torn up, you know. And I was a little guy, so you know, I wasn't, 6 foot something like I am now, right? So amongst my peers, I was a little dude, and it just taught me how to stand up for myself and fight. That was my first instrument. And then I remember my mother got me a Mickey Mouse drum set, a Disneyland Mickey Mouse drum set. And my stepdad at the time, he's like, you can't play that thing in the house because you're gonna drive me crazy. So they put me out on the front. They put me on the front stoop. Yeah, man. And I'd be out there banging, and the neighbors would just come out and look at me and just go, "Oh my God." Oh, so it got to a point that I had to get to another instrument after that. And so that began my journey through instrumentation, right? And so I play drums, I play bass, I play the keyboards, I play all the guitars, the different styles from flamenco to a scatting jazz, which is some of the stuff that you're even hearing right now.
Before college?
Yeah, this was before college. Just
before you even went to college, you learned all of those instruments.
I had to. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice because coming from a place in Denver. Okay, see, now this is where you get into the history of Denver as to the why do you play the instruments.
Gotcha.
Right? Because there are phenomenal musicians here in Denver that are phenomenal musicians. But there was, when Earth, Wind, and Fire, we were talking about that. When they left, they really didn't give the local musicians anything to shoot for.
Well,
right?
They just left.
They boned out. And it's kind of like some cats are still mad about that. Like, dude, y'all just left us, man.
I know.
Boned out. Now Roland and those cats, they went to Atlanta, right? So, we still have these icons that they jump and they take off, and so you hear and you're looking at this, and so you're going, okay, I started getting into recording and these type of different things and realizing, okay, I need instrumentation, I need other bodies, I need other people, and so you go to other people, and there's nobody for them to look up to like a Prince in Minneapolis, where they say, oh yeah, he put a band together. And so you go to these individuals and say, hey man, I want to put a band together. Blah, blah, blah. Let's I need a keyboard player. And the keyboard player is looking at me like, oh, little young buck, man, I don't play. I said, oh, come on, man. He's just, nah, man, Vince, I'm not into all that. I'm a keyboard player. I'm a real, okay. So then I went home, and my aunties, my aunt, my aunts,
right?
Yeah,
depending on what part of the hood and how you were corrected.
That's right. So I went to her house.
That's basically what it is. A lot of people,
right,
especially from here. When I moved to Atlanta after I graduated from high school, a lot of people said, "Oh, you talk proper." I was like, only because I know I'm supposed to talk proper.
Right.
And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, when you grow up in the hood in Denver, Colorado, they like to put you in speech therapy for bullshit.
Right.
One of the things they put you in speech therapy for here in Colorado is for when you talk hood.
Right.
Or if you have a little Southern slang in you.
Oh, yeah. Especially the Southern slang.
Oh, my God.
Because they want to get that out of you.
Say aura.
Oh yeah, I even got to beef with that one, but that lets me know where somebody is from, St. Louis, or you from the South.
In
you
general,
say aura,
but don't get mad at aura. Y'all need to stop fucking with aura, okay? Especially y'all out west that don't understand. It's QRS.
Right.
You understand?
QRS.
QRS. TUVWXYZ. Don't
Right.
play.
Yeah.
Don't play.
Yeah, dig it.
You know what I mean?
Dig
And it just, you understand. If you don't understand, you just being evil.
Malicious, right?
You know what I mean?
Maleficent, yeah. Well, and so I'll make it kind of short. I'll make it kind of short.
It doesn't have to be shorter than it.
Because it's we rolling.
Yeah.
Okay, so instrumentation. You know, the reason why I learned to play all these instruments was because, you know, I wanted to go a certain direction as I was looking for musicians to play. You know, one of the things that people admired about Prince is because what he did is he had to structure what he wanted. So when you came into his world, right, or he allowed you into his sphere, period.
There you go.
Then this is what we're doing. If you can't do this,
especially somebody that people don't grasp was raised by Jehovah's Witness church.
Oh yeah, that's
Bible.
Yeah,
so they know about the whole mixing.
Right. That's
the whole mixing of the.
Yeah. You know.
By the way, we are listening to the musics of Mr. Vince Johnson. Vincent or Vince? Which one do you like?
It don't matter. You know, Vincent if I'm in trouble.
You know, I have this thing about full name use. When someone uses your full name, I believe in general, they want you to do something crazy.
Okay.
For real.
Okay,
like when somebody calls you on the phone, they don't know you.
Right.
How is it that jobs know? Right. Which do you prefer?
Right.
Right. Before they even.
Yeah.
How's it going? They introduce themselves and then they go, which do you prefer?
Right.
Me, myself. If you want me to want to think about killing you, say my full name.
Right.
My name is short for a reason.
Right.
I didn't pick my name. That's something that, once again, you have no control of.
Right.
Unless you want to be disrespectful to your parents.
Right.
Now, your parents don't know that they're being disrespectful by giving you the full name that they give you.
Right.
I'm letting you know this right now, okay? I'm a Christopher. But don't call me that, because anybody that you call their full name or that uses that full name, you will see is a psychopath.
That's it.
Nobody would have said anything about Jeff. Jeff did what? No, Jeff didn't do that. Jeff's cool. But when you hear Jeffrey Dahmer, you go, yeah.
Yeah, that's Jeffrey Dahmer. That's Jeffrey.
That was Jeffrey. Jeffrey played with animals, and then they were dead.
Right. As a result of the play.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Jeffrey played with animals.
Right.
And then they were dead. Like, right. So I have this theory about people that actually, if you're not famous, once again, you're a star to me. So I understand Vincent.
I appreciate that.
Right?
Yeah.
I understand Vince.
Right. I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Because you have Vince Vaughn, you have Vincent Price.
Right. Right.
So I understand.
Okay.
But Jeffrey.
Well, and that's the same with Vincent, right? So I prefer Vince. I do prefer Vince. So if I'm in trouble, like you said, somebody wants you to do something weird, then they go say Vincent, right? I get that. And when I'm in trouble with my mama, she calls me up. She says Vincent.
That right there, yeah.
You know,
that is something that they know we don't like.
right? And when I'm not in trouble, I'm baby.
Right, baby, or
Baby,
Vince.
I need for you to come over here and get me something from the store, right? But Vincent, you know you should have done that. Oh, Ma, come on, Ma. Oh my God. All right, so, all right. Where was the instrument?
We were talking about instrumentation.
All right,
Talking about
all right.
instruments,
yeah.
like this
Yeah.
one that we see on our screen.
Well, yeah, and this is, by the way, this looks like it's a Mediterranean mandolin, right? Right.
Yeah.
And this is one of the instruments I do play, right? And so, and here's the interesting thing. As I'm going through my journey, you know, I'm learning, you know, instrumentation. You know, you got a household. You know, I grew up in a household that had some issues and in trouble. I was the only child, so I spent a whole lot of time alone.
Got you.
And so, spending that type of extensive time by yourself, your mind becomes creative, and you realize, okay, I got to do something. I can't just sit down here, looking at TV and flipping through magazines.
Well, they used to put people on what was it?
With Ritalin or something.
Ritalin.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now they tell kids you have ADHD.
Right.
Meaning that basically you have this very advanced mind that they don't want you to have.
Right.
So they want you to be on this pill to slow your
now
mind
you're going into
down.
that's an area right there. When we talk about young people.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we are. That's what I'm saying. That's why I need people to understand who you are.
Right. Dig it.
So
dig it.
You learned all those instruments before you went to college.
Before I went to college.
Right.
Yeah.
By the time you made it into high school where you officially start playing real music.
Yes. Yes. I officially started playing real music in high school, jazz. I was a singer. I was a piano player at GW High School, George Washington.
Ooh.
So I'm a patriot.
Yeah,
I'm a patriot.
I would have graduated Montbello.
You saying we was rivals. We was rivals, but we weren't as much as rivals as East and GW.
Yeah.
I mean, that was bad. That was bad. Long blood, right?
Well, basically, it was like white and black.
Yeah, right.
Or should I say, not even white and black, because George and TJ had Greeks and Jews,
right? That's
all
right.
that going.
That's right.
So it was more like It was more like the Antichrist. It was the Catholics against the
I mean, you know, because that was the predominant demographic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we knew Republicans was at East at that time. Look, let me stop.
Yeah, okay. And they were, and a lot of them were black Republicans too. But that's a whole nother thing. Oh yeah, that's my boy too, man. He grew up right in the hood. Right in the hood. And my cousin was one of his first
be back here every month. She's here all the time. Every time she comes to DIA.
Yeah.
They make it known.
Yeah, right. And so then this is home for a lot of artists.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you're a star.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. I appreciate that. So we talk about instrumentation. One of the things that I learned through learning all these different instruments was I learned like different personality types. So we talk about, as a man who's a believer, I'm a believer of the way. I am a believer of Christ.
That is what they were called, the people of the way.
People of the way, right? And I don't necessarily exclude the astrologicals, but I don't think that they are I don't think that they are the source. It's like that's a map, but then God oversees all of that. So all right. So my point being is each instrument taught me a different side of my personality.
Gotcha.
Okay,
I can dig that.
So the bass taught me, root, foundation, solidity, right?
Strength.
Submission, because it's hard to play. People don't realize how hard it is. It's tough to play the bass.
It's the bass.
You hold the groove. And that's all you're doing. But all you're doing is so important because it's setting up everything for all the flutter and all the beauty to jump on top of it.
Is this a bass?
Yeah, man. That's a nice bass too. As a matter of fact, that's a nice 4-string bass, man. It's Fender style bass, Sterling Fender style bass. which is one of the instruments that I learned when I was a young man. I had to jump on the bass, and so that bass taught me those type of different personality traits. And as a young man, the things that this is so important about how I teach young people now, right? Because the things that you missed, right? I can teach you through instrumentation. That's why I get it. Let me tell you, man. Chris,
this is why
I get a young person in,
with you.
because this is how we chop it up and we learn, right? I get a young person in and I can get them playing within 3 minutes. And I'm not talking about, okay, this is how you tune the guitar. No, I'm talking about in 3 minutes, I can get anybody. This is just what God has given me as a blessing, to sit down with me and play. I guarantee you,
learn how to play in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I can get you, and I can get you, and because the importance of that is this, right? This is what I went through this whole thing and learned. And so when I finally got to the spot, I had a system that I didn't even know that I had to give to the community. Ooh. And so when we were bringing young people in, right, I tried it. I tried coming in, have young people come in. I said, okay, I'm going to teach them notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And I'm going to teach them structure. And man, every time I was trying to teach you guys and all the other rest of the structure and LP, everybody was looking at me going, huh?
Well, because once again, myself, I am a brass majorist. These are my instruments.
Right.
Which one is this one? Is this a tuba or
that's a tuba
or a sousaphone? Okay, look at you. What about this one?
That looks like a tuba too.
That is a sousaphone or euphonium. Excuse me,
baritone.
It is a 4-valve baritone.
Right.
Yeah. You have
and that's the one thing I don't play is wind instruments. And there's a reason for that, because that's a flugelhorn, isn't it?
No, that's a marching baritone.
Marching baritone.
Once again, all of these things. What is this?
That is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a lute style. That's a Greek lute style instrument. Yeah, it's not a violin. It's a Greek lute style instrument. So you've got multiple integrated tunings. That's a Japanese kitaro, I believe, of a Japanese banjo style guitar. It's played not with the fingers. It's played with.
Turn it down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it's played with. What was that? Yeah, it's played with a bouncing instrument that bounces on it. It's like a square, potato chip looking type thing.
Look. This is how you know this man is for real. I'm gonna let y'all know. I've been impressed with this man from the time that I met him at the spot. Musically, genius. When did you start singing?
When I came out the womb, man. I started singing when I came out the womb.
So
that was my first instrument, truly.
That's what I was gonna.
My voice.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay.
When did you start using that instrument?
Well, I didn't. I started when I really professionally. I started at about 14.
Gotcha.
My first gig was I sang background for Barry Mandolin.
Hey.
Right. A 14-year-old kid, but it was in a choir, and we did. I forget the name of the song. It's Piano in the Dark or something like that. It was this one light, whatever. And this is another mandolin style instrument. That's a Middle East Mandarin style instrument.
I just love the way that you just know them. Like,
well, I studied them.
Yeah,
I studied them, and that's another mandolin. That's another mandolin, double string mandolin. Yeah. It's almost like a ukulele, but not quite, because you got a double string with the lower strings and the upper strings. So that has a full resonant sound. Go back to that one, as a matter of fact, because that one is actually played a lot in Cuba. So that's a Cuban. It has a very
that's what I'm saying. Cuban like sound. I don't know about y'all's fascination with entertainment. My fascination with entertainment is the attention to detail.
Dig it.
Individuals like this when you pay attention to detail, you also pay attention to, once again, the future of the detail.
Dig it. Where were we?
We are still talking about entertainment in general when it comes to you.
Dig it. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
This week, though, in sports,
Well,
it hasn't been much going on because of this virus that is going bigger and bigger.
Right. Well, and I do know that Washington beat the living tar out of Dallas. That's what I do know. And as I was watching bits and pieces of the game, because I used to be a big sports fan, but I'm watching bits and pieces of the game. Here's what I think is interesting, right? We're in a pandemic. And so these young men are still out there banging it out on the field.
But they're kept away from, they're having to make sacrifices that we're all not having to make.
No, they're not. I mean, they are, yeah. They're not able to connect with the public,
This is why people go, well, why do we need to pay the more? This is what you're not grasping. Like, they set into a bubble, right? The NBA set people in a bubble,
right,
away from their families and friends and connections of personal,
right,
to make sure that the game was played,
right,
so that people were entertained.
Well, they're gladiators.
I understand that. See,
they're gladiators, and
I had this conversation last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Last week's show was recorded. Gilly was here. It was the most brilliant interview I had ever done with him. And the microphone was not on. Oh, that is what happened. So, if anybody wants to know what happened last week's show, that's what happened. Gilly said he's going to come back. We're going to do another show. I'm very grateful and appreciative of Gilly, because if y'all know him, he's not someone who conversates. So, that's what happened to last week's show. However,
right. Well,
that was his team that got manhandled.
So he was not happy. He was not happy yesterday. Well,
and see, my backup team, as you know, if you're from Colorado, you are a Bronco fan.
I am a Bronco fan.
Right? If you're born, you're born and raised. When you're born and raised, you're here. You know what I mean?
Johnson and all that.
Right? Like, just in general, Orange Crush. We, at the same time, we all have backup teams. My backup team is Washington.
Oh.
Yes, Seattle, Washington.
Was a good day for you.
Seattle, Washington is my backup team. They have always been my backup team. Nobody has ever known this about me. People have asked me, who's your team? The Broncos. That's all I'll ever tell you. Main team is the Broncos.
Yeah.
After the Broncos, my team is Seattle, Washington. Okay.
All right.
They did what they did.
Yeah.
The draft happened. The NBA draft happened.
NBA draft happened. People didn't even really know it happened the whole time. Because we have to be 6 feet apart, which is a whole number that I have a whole theory about the 6 feet. 10 feet is really what it's supposed to be.
As a nurse, I know why. Once again, and what do you in the military? What are you given? You go when they say, "Trust right."
Yeah.
6 feet.
6 feet. Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Personal bubble around yourself. You violate somebody's bubble in general in prison.
Right.
Don't violate my 6 feet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have an additional theory to that.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm
You
just
know,
saying in general. That's
so
what
the
that
6 feet.
6
It's only
feet
6 feet
is
thing.
is the total wingspan
Right.
in general.
As a practitioner too, you know,
Yeah.
you understand that.
Right, because a lot of the stuff, once again, history when it comes to medical is doctors know the actual factuals and how to get the surgeries done, whereas in nurses treat and take care of.
Right. Sure.
Doctors prescribe, do surgeries.
Right. And nurses do the work.
We
They do the work. I mean, that's real talk. You know, when we're talking about,
they don't know how to put together any of the machines that we put together in some people's rooms.
No, because they're not trained.
They know how much it's supposed to infuse.
Right, and they know that they need it, but at that grassroots level, they don't know that, you know, which is why I prefer to go to specific hospitals. If I need to be treated, I will go to Denver Health. I don't really like to go outside of that place.
I mean,
their expertise in trauma, man, it's just, and their demographic understanding of the demographics that they're dealing with.
Now, that's one thing that I will say. I will contribute to Pena.
Yeah.
When his wife got pregnant the first time, that was the first time Denver Health had a remodel. It was either the first child or the second child, one of them. But that was when Denver Health had its remodel and they upgraded themselves.
Right. Okay.
When it came to Denver and its health.
Right.
That's why I'll give Pena his props in certain areas. Dealing with Hancock,
Pena Boulevard.
yeah. Well, I mean, dealing with Hancock in general, you know what I mean. It has me skeptical. We're not gonna go into.
Yeah, we can get to our politics list, but yeah, I hear you.
I mean, it's not that I don't do politics in general. My stance is everyone that's been there right now, from 2019 to 2020, everybody that's been there has been part of the problem of keeping Black and brown people and poor people in their place.
Yeah.
Taking away hopes, dreams, and futures, and not knowing that not knowing that they are people in general first.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, and
they take those positions.
You look at that, and you realize that the system that we're set up in it's a type of system where we forget about the suffering of another individual because we don't live in that particular arena to feel that particular suffering. So that's what we're talking about is suffrage, right?
Right, because when you live in the hood, you're seeing the suffering. As you grow and you move yourself out of the hood to another place that doesn't see as much suffering.
Right. Well, or a different type of suffering, even. A different, because here's the thing.
Yeah, because it's another level. Because when a lot of the people that moved from Denver to Aurora to get their kids away from the hood,
right,
they didn't know mentally going back and forth to the hood was also going to cause the same thing.
Well, sure. It's because you're looking at suffrage, but and you're seeing it in the people that you care and that you love in the community. Well, one of the things that I went underground with the FBI. I hadn't told you this on sex trafficking. I did a whole film on with the FBI and I went underground with them and recorded a sex trafficking. Do you know one of the biggest largest sex trafficked communities in America is in Highlands Ranch, Centennial? Okay, well, I didn't at the time. And so I'm going underground, right? And I'm seeing things that I'm saying, okay, well, I would think, okay, you would think the normal places, Colfax, East Colfax, West Colfax, things that are going through neighborhoods that
people are honest about what they do.
That's right. Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
That once again, this is like when it comes to my understanding of when I read the Bible,
Right.
I read individuals that before God used them, they knew that they were shitty people, right?
Right. Yeah.
They never said that they weren't shitty people. They said, because I am Moses, because I am Pharaoh's son,
Right.
this is why I do what I do. Peter, John,
Yeah. Yeah, sure, the apostles. Yeah. Yeah. They were rough cats.
you know what I mean?
they were the bangers of the day.
Once again,
They
were
the road dogs of the day. Yeah, yeah.
And I say this to people all the time. Evil has never said that, or God never said that evil was not going to be able to make positive moves.
Right.
Nobody ever said that. They always tell you evil will never win. Of course we know that. Good will never win either, though, because it has to stay at a balance.
Right. Sure.
If everything was all good, life would suck.
Yeah.
If everything was all bad, life would suck.
Yeah.
Only one that knows
that's
this is God.
That's the suffrage that we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Only one that knows this is God. God won't let abundantly good take over.
Mm.
God won't let abundantly bad take over.
Right. So the balance of the universe is the struggle.
Is God.
Yeah, the balance. I get that. And
in the beginning, we got punished straight. This is what I was telling you earlier in the text. In the beginning, God punished us straight from jump. Remember kings to have belts wrapped around their feet, walking into a cave trying to talk to God?
Well, yeah. The priests, yeah, because they had to pull them out. They had to, because if they had sin in their life, they would die. That was their death sentence.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And once again, for people to not grasp, this is my thing, for people to not grasp that the leaders that we elect are also representations of our spirits.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I will pick one from amongst you.
Do you understand?
I will pick the one from amongst you. Sure, man.
And that's my issue is that you got so many people that know right from wrong, but they will sit there and ride with the devil.
Sure. Because it's in their best interest. It's in their best interest. So you can ride with the devil, it's in their best interest. Well, and realizing that was one of the things that, knowing what is your purpose on this planet, right? Because my purpose is for me, right? You say, Vince, what's your purpose? I can speak for me. I can only speak for I, right?
Gotcha.
And so my purpose on this rock that we live on is as a free man amongst free people. I'm a healer, I'm a protector, and I'm the finder of treasures. I will find the treasures. God has given me that in my ability to find the treasures. You were one of those treasures. As a young man, you came in and I saw the treasury. I'm like, man, how can I? Okay, and that's when I say I stand in between the gap.
And I was an angry person,
and where that treasure needs to go.
Time. I was
sure. We're still angry. How do we not be? We're still angry.
No. When this is so funny. Like I said, I wasn't planning on our conversation wasn't gonna go, like I said, spiritual or.
How can it not?
Or political. Those are the two things I try to
stay away from.
Not that I stay away from them in general.
Yeah.
If you are a man of God, I appreciate you.
Dig it. That's important.
It is.
That's important because to me,
if
everything
you were
is
not a man of God,
right.
I love you.
That's important. That's the Christian dummy guide to the way of Christianity. Love God and love your neighbor.
I want to understand why you don't. and that how powerful you are by just walking by faith.
Mm. Oh yeah. Well, it's a different type of faith, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's
It's a
what that's
different,
why.
it's a different type of faith. It's a faith, because I've had this conversation with
Yeah.
young people, and because I am a man of God, and I'm a man of, I consider myself to be an unofficial man of the cloth, but I have these conversations with young people, and they
There
tell me,
is
well,
no
I have
clock.
faith, in me, Vince. I said, well, okay, and they're doing the things that they want to do in life, and I said, okay, you have faith in you, but we all will come up against some wall where we say, okay, there has to be a faith in something that's bigger than me because I don't know how to get here. I'm walking and I'm walking, I'm walking in the blind on the edge of a freaking cliff.
This is why the ones, right? The ones that don't believe. Like I said, I love them because
Yeah,
when they get to that wall,
right.
how do they make it over?
That's a very good question, and it's different for everybody. I think being vulnerable is the number one way. I think submitting and
Being honest.
you got, well, see, and that's the thing. You can be in the church for 30, 40, 50 years and not be honest.
Amen.
And so that level of honesty that you have is going to get you from one point to the next point. And every time you go around that mountain, you might go a little higher, right? But every time you go around that mountain, you're going to run into a block. I don't care who you are, where you are in life. I don't care what your status is. Your status can be so high that just your testosterone is bouncing off the walls and you feel absolutely great about yourself. But you're going to come around a mountain and you got $10,000 in your bank account, bam, and you got a lung problem.
I have always hated myself.
Dig it. Break that down. Break that down.
I will break that down on another show because we're going to talk about.
We got enough time today.
No. It's not that we don't have enough time today. It's honestly this. Next week's show, God willing, is going to be on mental health.
Oh, very, very, very important topic. That's
in
very
the black topic. And brown community that we love.
It's a very important topic. Yeah.
Like in general.
Well, that's what this is about for me. So
the conversation is what this is about. The convo.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not that we're not aware. It's just nobody's having the conversation with us.
Right.
So if we're having the conversation now, our conscious is being open.
Well, these are conversations that we're missing. These are conversations that we're not entertaining because what we are quintessentially, we say these terms like we're running a rat race, we're all rats in a rat race. Here's the thing. Here's a lot of my philosophical perspective on life in general, but in a microcosm in specificity, right? I say, structure is to freedom as chaos is to slavery.
Oh.
Right?
To comprehend that.
Yes. So structurally, you look at things in a structural perception and say, okay, I want to sleep and get up when I want to get up. I get up at 7, I get up at 10, I get up at 12 some days I get up at 9. Okay, and that's fine for you, right? Okay, so let's just break it down into this little microcosm of area, right? And so we look at that and go, okay, well, that is a predicator. It predicts what your outcome of that day is going to be. So I say, okay, well, I'm going to get up tomorrow, maybe whenever I want to get up. So without that level of structure to say, okay, I'm going to get up at this time, and even if there's no set structure, particular day. Within a day, this is how I think. Within one day, I do 3 days. I have 3 days in one day. I get up in the morning and I do my thing. This is what you and I talked about. You get your workout time in. You get your focus, your time in. Right? Some of us like to get our cup of coffee. Some of us like to have a breakfast. And there's nothing wrong with having a breakfast. Right? And I learned, if you're a person who has anxiety, eat some food. Have a freaking meal. Have a meal. Because statistically, that's gonna lessen your anxiety, right?
Right. And a lot of times I have learned myself working in healthcare. Anxiety is something that is so self-induced.
It's real. It's real.
It is just like people who feel suicidal. Unfortunately, there's so much pain going on within. There's so much worry about what everyone else is thinking about or doing towards that one individual. It causes anxiety.
Sure.
It's not that they're purposely going, okay, while I'm in public, I'm just going to have a panic attack.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody's doing that on purpose. People are not doing those things on purpose.
Sure.
People that are hurting, okay, when they're telling you in general, this is what I honestly need people to try to grasp. If someone comes to you and tells you that they're honestly feeling like taking their life, I don't know how, what, when, why, and where you can do this at. But I'm going to need you to take the person that has informed you of that information, and I want you to just hug the hell out of them. Don't say anything. Don't say nothing. Stop whatever you're doing and hug the hell out of that person. Because once again, all of those things that built up to wanting to take your life it's a pain that not everyone will ever comprehend. And we love to make excuses of what will happen if somebody does that to themselves. Well, guess what? There's no proof.
Well, there's
none whatsoever.
And well, guess what that hug does? Guess what that hug does? What that hug does is it takes them out of their past, and it pulls them back from the worry of their future and brings them into the now. The now is very important because that's all we have. We don't have the past. The past is gone. The future's not here yet. So all we have is the now.
One of the biggest things that people came into emergency room about was being included. Wow. Inclusion is such a drug itself. Nobody wants to think about that. Nobody wants to be alone.
No. Well, of course, that's what we're talking about. Okay. Oh, okay. We get into these things, right? So as a healer, right? As a healer, my foundation of healing and my vehicle is music and A432, which is a very specific harmonic frequency that tunes to the human body. I've got a whole project
about that.
Yeah, I have a whole project right now. It's called Soulful Psalms. SoulfulPsalms.com. You go there, Soulful Psalms, and it is a biblical.
Excuse me.
Bless you, times 3, times 4. That smoke is real good. So it is.
Oh man, excuse me.
It is. It's all good, man. It's all good. We live in life here. It is a scriptural foundation that's put to soul music, and I've got this amazing woman who's narrating on top of it. Her voice sounds like a song. Okay, now the music is set at A432, right? Okay, so we talk about healing, right, and bringing forth healing forth. Well, one of the things we talk about when we talk about, because
This
we're talking about
new
suicide,
technology, which
you know,
is old technology. Got you. I
right?
totally understand.
And it's new technology that's been here forever, right?
Just like we're
And
finding out.
yeah, well, and Hitler did his thing, and he made everybody tune their instruments to A440 because it hyperactivates the hypothalamus in the brain and makes you more aggressive. You know, more serotonin is released into the body and all these type of things. And then we, as a world, adopted this A430, A440, coming from A432, tuning our instruments and our music and our sound to A440, not really realizing that our hypothalamus is activated. Plants around us don't vibrate at that. Our bodies don't vibrate at that frequency, right? And that's a whole pattern that I'll talk about that I have. That is a very prescribed thing with light, sound, and some other elements, and it does involve him.
Oh no, because
My
like
product actually is built out of him.
Jane,
You know,
I want to say her Akio. I don't want to mess up her name. And Big Sean have been using sound vibration.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they,
It's a very important thing, and it's we all over the place, but you know, we look at these things and we don't realize
this is what conversation do.
this is how it does. This is how it happens, right? And so we you know, we have these remedies that we've been using since the very beginning of time, when you know that the Egyptians had two big tuning forks, and you walk into this big room and they hit one tuning fork and hit the other tuning fork that's the size of a two-story building, and in between that there's a frequency that's vibrated, and they put the person's body in that frequency, and that particular frequency is healing whatever their ailments are, because it's bringing the body back to its natural state. All right, boom, we talk about that. Okay, so let's go back down to the grassroots level.
Once again,
level.
when God was conversating with us,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
we was learning so much,
sure,
right? But then somewhere we got selfish.
Oh, yeah. We talk about that. We talk about that because that's a whole. I have a whole thing about the selfishness and
just in general. Somewhere down the line, we got selfish, which got us to Egypt.
Right.
Because just like with this plague,
right, got us to Egypt.
Right.
That's right.
God sent Moses and said, "You know what? Tell everybody I'm going to kill the firstborn son, and those that don't want their kids to be killed, mark an X on their door with goat's blood, chicken blood.
It was sheep's blood.
Sheep's blood. See, I don't know everything."
Which meant that there at that back then, it meant that there were the 600 plus, I think it's 613 laws that the Jews had that they had to abide by, and if you broke one law, you broke all of the laws. So that was at that point, it was the dispensation to forgive man of their sins by the sacrifice of that sheep to put the blood, and then death would pass over the house. Now that is very symbolic.
Now,
That's
once
very
again,
symbolic
because
today.
think about it, Jews to this day will not put anything before God.
Well, yeah, and see that, and I have a whole thing about that.
Because they won't put this government before God.
No, well,
they won't put anything before God.
And here's the thing: is we talk
if their
about
job does, if they get a job, their job has to accept that God comes first.
Yeah, and that is the matriarchal society that we built up from the foundation of Christianity, Islam, being Judaism being the foundation of that. So, and that connection to the Catholic Church, I have a whole teaching on that I do, man, which incorporates interweaves into my music. So you cannot call yourself a citizen without exploring, how to relieve suffering. You cannot call yourself a true citizen of this world without, saying, okay, what is my part in relieving the suffering? What you're doing here, this is a show. this show is it's the foundation of this show, from what I understand, is to create an understanding. Well, where there's an understanding, there is knowledge, there is wisdom, and ultimately we get an understanding. And with that understanding becomes the decrease in suffrage.
Correct.
Right. And so what we talk about suicide. And I had to deal with kids who did take their lives, and that was very traumatic, right? And it was groundbreaking, and they take their lives, and these people, I don't want me to get emotional, but this is very important to me, because these people they leave a wake behind themselves, and they leave so much suffrage behind, and how they just stopped and had a meal.
It's
And just stop, and instead of taking your life, maybe maybe you bake some cookies. I mean, I'm
But
just
once
what there's
once
so
again,
many
though,
other options.
once
You
again
know?
though, we will never understand the hearts and souls of man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
This is one of the hardest things for me, is to accept that the ripples that I have caused in my life
sure.
are also the same ripples that are not going to come back to me
Right.
in a form of happiness.
Well, yeah, yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And so, but you accept that, and we say to ourselves, and this is the war. See, this is the shadow work. We talk about shadow work, and what is shadow work? And this is the shadow work that you're
No,
doing.
like, do you grasp what I mean though?
Absolutely,
Like, I
absolutely.
can't expect
Yeah,
to have love come back, and I never loved.
that's true. This is very true.
If I've only loved, like, my only love was family and music, that's it.
But that's love.
Right.
Yeah.
However, expecting it to come back in abundance,
Hmm.
like people think,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
that's not promised to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. I understand that. And
That's my thing.
I understand that.
Even when we
And
comprehend
right.
the it's like when they say, when I did as a child. When I did as a child, I knew I was being destructive as a child,
Right.
and that's what's crazy
Right.
for me.
Right. Well, but when you became a man,
I'm
you no
still
longer acted like a
that
child.
that a man and a woman are the two most powerful creatures on this planet.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
I don't tell people that I am a man ever. That is a stance. That is a stance that comes with so many responsibilities, along with holding yourself accountable to every one of your sins and testifying to them before man and God.
Mm.
Not just saying, "Oh yeah, I make mistakes." No. For me, when Jay-Z said that he cheated on Beyonce,
Yeah.
do you understand? Not that, "Oh yeah, I spent some of my wife's money, or I stole from my wife, or I made some mistakes in general." There are some things that happen. To verbally,
Right.
specifically say what occurred
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Important.
is power.
It is important. It is
And
important.
denouncing and making what you have done either right or wrong.
Right.
Denouncing or announcing. Let me change that.
Well, because that's the point of accountability.
Yeah.
There has to be, and this is what in our generation, when we can put, I don't have a microwave in my house. Now, this is the first time I didn't have a microwave in my house ever that I can remember, probably since I was a young man, before microwaves were invented, because we were still alive when they were
I
invented.
boil the
Yeah.
hell out of water in the microwave.
Right.
I
Right.
will not.
Well, and we look
I
at that,
I
right?
just boil the hell. Oh,
Yeah.
I will make a Marie Calendar pot pie in the microwave. By the way, local restaurants, black and brown,
Mhm.
out of all the ones you've eaten at recently,
Mhm.
which would be a restaurant you would shout out?
Oh, boy,
Just
there's always
just one.
yeah, there's always just one.
Just we're just doing one right now.
Okay, well, Santiago's.
Okay.
Santiago's. I go there. I get what I want. I get it quick.
Are they locally owned and operated?
Yeah, they're locally owned and operated by Latino family, the Santiago family, and
Gotcha.
I know them all the way back to when they started.
Gotcha.
'Cause I'm a local Denverite, right, fourth generation. And so, yeah, I enjoy
I've
that.
look, there are just things that I don't know, so I love to ask.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I didn't eat at Santiago's until about 2003.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, that's when I found out about Santiago.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their recipes are true.
Well, it
to-
was in Dallas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when I found out about.
Okay.
Somebody brought them in the morning, and I was like, "Where do you be getting these burritos from? That
Yeah,
be so
yeah.
good in the morning."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Santiago.
so yeah,
And you can go in and get 20 burritos, right? And you
Right.
can walk out the door in 5 minutes. And they're hot, they're fresh, they're made right there on the spot.
hey,
And that's what they do. That's all they do. That's all they do. So you don't go in the morning and go, I want this type of breakfast burrito. They go, no, that's not the kind of burrito we're serving this morning. Come on Wednesday. But that works because when I go there on Wednesday, this is what I'm going to get. I'm going to get in, I'm going to get out. And so their system has proven to be very true. The system has proven right. This is because it all goes back to the lessening of everything. Goes back to the lessening of suffrage because you are providing a service. You're providing a service to people, right? And I go back
You're
to this
reminding
as a musician, as a lover of human beings, a person who is here to help people. It all comes back to service. I don't care what you're doing. If you have um, a vision, and that vision only is inclusive of you, your new car, your mansion, your house, that's not a vision.
that's not.
That's not a vision. That's your own personal aspirations and stuff like that. That's fine. A vision is inclusive of helping people.
Giving back.
Well, yeah, and giving back is what is giving back? It's lessening the suffrage.
Well, that's the whole point of being fruitful and multiplying.
Sure.
It's not that you make babies, because a lot of people make babies, and
Yeah.
they do not need to be making babies. I'm
you can say that
just
again. You
saying,
can say that
from
again.
my point of view, there are people. One, I hold femininity accountable for this, because there was a time when females knew that if they gave this male some sex, this male would think that he was smarter, better, powerful, stronger, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to males in general, this is why females would not give away the cookies. For real. And
Well, yeah,
that's why I think y'all need to just, every time y'all think that you're giving somebody the cookies that deserve the cookies, please ask yourself, do they really deserve the cookies, or can I just let this nigga lick? I'm just saying, from my point of view, okay? I don't know about everybody else's. Like I said, this show is straight raw digging. Ladies, some people just need to get to licking. This way you can put orders behind it, like make goals for yourself so I know I can continuously keep letting you lick. You understand? Because you got folks out here that just because they can stick it, they ain't got no form of no future at all. And that is the one reason why they have no form of a future, is because somebody is saying, okay, you can hit this.
Well, and now you look at the other side of that too, right? Um, which are women who have taken the empowerment. They've taken their cookies in their own empowerment and saying, well, this is going to get me here,
I totally
right? And that's the
understand
flip side.
that.
That's the flip side of that, right? That's the flip side of that.
That has been the oldest form of bartership
The profession, right?
in the world. Yes.
Sure, absolutely.
That's what sets the bar between man and woman and those type of individuals.
Right. Well, and that's right. That's
A man and a
sure, when we
woman
look
will
at
not conduct
commitment.
themselves
Sure.
in those type of ways because of the suffrage that it can cause.
Sure, it can cause.
They
suffrage.
comprehend that.
Sure, it causes suffrage. Yeah, and
Not just, they don't just comprehend that type of suffrage. They comprehend all those forms of suffrage that you can cause via greed, lust, envy, pride, sloth, anger,
right.
gluttony.
Yeah, those things that are very hateful to God. Yeah,
Those are the things that
sure.
my pride allowed me to be angry for almost, minus my we'll say I started knowing things at 5.
Mm, sure.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
is.
3.
Wow. And
That's one of my issues, I think.
yeah, and it's a that and what an
I don't remember
unfair
coming
way
out the
to start
womb.
life. Yeah, yeah.
Once again, here's another statement that I will hold myself accountable to.
Yeah.
I don't remember coming out the womb. So if I tell you I was born that way, that means color, race, gender. Everything else I cannot testify to. Once again, Dave Chappelle said, when do I have to stop participating in somebody else's imagination?
Right. That's heavy. That's a very heavy statement. That's a very heavy statement.
I mean, I watched a show on Netflix about the ground and how plants absorb CO2.
Mm-hmm.
Carbon. That's what our issue is, right?
That's our issue.
But we're not grasping that our issue is we're destroying the land that comes with absorbing the carbon. So now we have to redo.
You have to infuse the carbon into the land.
Basically, regenerate.
That's right. The soil.
Yeah. They call it.
Yeah.
So basically, we have to learn from the same things that Native Americans had been telling folks from the jump. Don't fuck with nature. Nature knows what it's doing. We are the ones that don't. So now they said we need to plant more. If we plant more, we need to stop destroying all the places with trees. Our
I mean, we're
Amazon,
destroying our ecological system. Yeah. The machine is killing us.
It's not even that it's the machine though. It's once again, it's us.
We are the machine.
Yeah.
We're killing us.
Yeah.
I mean, very quite frankly.
And it's
Yeah.
I mean, remember when you're almost 10 years older than me. So we grew up in that generation where they was talking about the government's gonna put a chip in your hand. They're gonna come break into your house. Remember that?
Yeah.
They taught us how to buy the chip. You and I both have the chip on our wrist.
Oh yeah, and in our ears, and in our phone, in our back pocket, and whatever
They know
else
your.
device
They
that
know
we
our
have on
blood
us.
pressure.
Sure, sure.
They know our blood pressure.
They know
our
your route of
heart
travel.
rate.
They know where you're
They know when
going.
I'm asleep. They know
They
when
know
I'm
what you
awake.
buy. They know what you like. They know what you don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
Now here's the real
Yeah.
question. Honestly, how much do you give a fuck?
Too much. I too much. I care too much, and I say that.
Is it because you're not honest and open about your life? Or is it that your life is private to you? Now, I understand what the government has offered us, a form of privacy when they established America and all of these things. Yeah, at the same time, a lot of that stuff wasn't meant for black folks. So let's just go ahead and set the record there. At the same time, though, we understand that people be like, yeah, I want to keep my life private. I want to keep my life private. Cool, fine and gravy.
Right.
You want to keep your life private, but what's private about your life?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's when I say I care too much. We look at, all right, so let's talk about technology. Talking technology. Technology is like, you know, okay, something that's about to end in our world. Money,
I
right? So
am
this
a
money,
fan
this
of cyber,
yeah,
of crypto coin.
okay. And so
I
let's talk
tell
about that.
I
Let's
tell
talk
all
about that.
people of color that they should invest in crypto coin. I
And
really
why?
do.
And why should they invest in crypto coins? Not to say it's bad or good, right?
Mhm.
But it's to me, right? And I asked this redundant question actually, which is an answer to itself. It's like a dollar is neither good nor bad. Crypto coins is neither good nor bad. So we make these arguments. We can say, well, crypto coin is a digital uh, form of currency where we look at, you know, an industry that I went underground in once again, and you're buying, you can buy drugs, prostitutes, children,
That's the reason why.
organs. So it's underground. But okay, what's the flip side of that? Well, the flip side of that
It's
is
the most
the banking
secure,
system itself.
not secure.
It's not well. It's not taking uh, it's not taking your money and doing something with your money that you don't necessarily want to happen or you don't know about happening. It's there's a system there that's not controlled by what we call the FDIC, which is really not a federal organization or agency at all. It's just a corporation, right? And
Now
so,
Visa's gotten to the game.
yeah,
Now MasterCard has gotten to the game.
well, sure, of course, they
So
don't want to be left out, just like
before it
Marlboro,
was supposed
just
to.
like Salem's don't want to get out of the. They want to get into the game of marijuana.
Oh no, that's Marlboro.
Yeah, Marlboro.
Marlboro owns all those companies.
But at one point, they didn't.
Right.
But they were the ones going to
That was
legislation.
before-
They were the ones
but
going
that
to
was
legislation
before-
to legislate legalization.
That was before the psychology of marketing to people.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand?
Understand that? Yeah, yeah. Because the psychology of marketing to people is a very dastardly.
Yes, the
It's
thing
very
right there.
dastardly. I
Once
mean,
again,
it's very
especially
yeah.
when you take it to internet level, which is the other movie I had last week on the social dilemma. Does anybody know anything about that movie? Have you seen that on Netflix?
I think the social dilemma was that about two young people.
The social dilemma was about there you go right there. The Social Dilemma. This documentary drama hybrid explores the dangerous human impact of social networking with tech experts sounding the alarm on their own creations.
Wow. Wow.
Do you
And
understand?
I'll have to watch that because I think I get it. I have an understanding of it, but then, I get this. We get to sit with people like you and I, and then we get more information.
Right. Once
Right.
again, these people on this movie all work for the big names: Facebook, Google, or
Yeah.
should I say ABC,
Right.
um, Netflix, Twitter. You know what I mean? All of
Sure.
these people. And this was their biggest fear, was the manipulation of us psychologically
Sure.
via social media.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I just bought something
This was the
on Facebook the other
reason
day.
from my show,
Yeah.
you understand, is that we needed to conversate about this type of information.
Right.
You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Okay.
Once again, you say, why crypto? Because crypto allows us to move from the unwealthy to wealthy
Sure.
without discrimination. As a bank
Sure.
will
That's right.
consistently discriminate against our credit and our color
That's right. That's right. And
when
you're
it
talking
comes to
about
giving us loans.
a colorblind currency of transaction.
Period.
Yeah.
That is the only
yeah.
only reason that I tell people of color and poor.
Yeah.
There are currencies that are not even above $1 yet. And that's what happened with Bitcoin. Bitcoin was
Right.
just one of the fastest ways to process.
Right.
But now there's other faster ways to process. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And there's other coins out there.
Sure. That's right.
It's
Sure. It's a bartering system. It's a currency bartering
ding,
system.
and that's
Yeah.
the whole point
Yeah.
right there.
And that's a good thing because that puts
With
that puts
chain
the power
linking,
back into the hands of the actual man, right?
right?
It takes it out of the big corporation
They
and it
can't
puts it back
control,
in the
right? They
hands of the
can't
man.
control if it
Sure.
goes up or down.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, like I said, for me, that's one of the reasons why I said, for us, we need to start taking control. Now, just because you invest doesn't mean that you don't need to have financial literacy. And I will definitely shoot you to this man about learning about financial literacy,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of products, once
Right.
again,
I'm a financial broker, and that's what I do. Go ahead.
when it comes to building yourself and your future. There are a lot of things that people can do without having to worry about the man. One, knowing what to do when you have money is a very powerful tool and understanding thing. When you know what to do when you have money, that's power. Because we all
Knowing
know
what
how
to
to
do.
spend some money.
Well, and that's the thing that you're saying, man.
We know how to. I know how to blow some money.
Because we say knowledge is power. Well, knowledge is not power. Knowledge doesn't equate to power unless you do something with that knowledge.
Correct.
So here's the thing. We've been hearing this over our generations and generations. We have been hearing these quips, and we develop an entire life off of these quips. You know, women should be women should submit. Well, why would, and see, we get into these things and okay, let's just talk
once
about
again,
that.
That within itself was a time period where, once again, we know that only happened in certain cultures throughout history.
Well, okay.
We don't know that is the way of life because Egypt gave power to women.
Well, yeah, right. But okay. So let me ask you this question: why don't we know? Right? When we look at the natural order of things, right? We look at gorillas, for instance, right?
We can't now see when it
we
comes to
yeah.
us. Now see that's another thing right there. That's
Well,
a good. That's a very good one. Hold
yeah.
on. When it comes to us and animals,
Mhm.
or when it comes to us in general, we are the only things on this planet not naturally doing what unnatural something is supposed to do.
Right.
We
I
get
understand that. I'm
we
following. I'm
get
following.
to choose whatever we want to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. We have the yeah. Sure. Well,
If
and
there
and
were,
and,
this is why I figured out why the people in Africa called everyone below the equator in Africa the godless, because they ain't wear clothes. They ain't give a fuck. For real, everybody else above the equator in Africa was Muslim, except for Ethiopia. This is why there's some shit going on in Ethiopia, y'all, that y'all need to pay attention to.
yeah.
This is not no joke. Ethiopia is the only country in Africa surrounded by Muslim countries to never be conquered.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So that means before Christ, they know their history. You understand?
Sure. Sure.
Before Christ, there is a black country in Africa. Jamaicans, y'all are Ethiopians, descendants of Ethiopian King Jah Rastafari. I'm learning history.
Well, and history is very important, right? Because
Right.
we don't want to make that same. We don't want to make that same
Something.
mistake.
The first church is in Ethiopia.
Yeah, the first Christian church, and even when we go back,
I'm not
to,
calling it a Christian. I'm just saying
well,
the
yeah,
first
I mean that's
church.
the Orthodox,
in general.
you know,
They
first church was. Yeah,
they
but
have been
that was also
believing in the people of the way. They have been following the people of the way for
True.
long.
True, but there's also the Negro land, which is West Africa, which were the actual original Jews, which has now been proven.
Yes.
You know, through DNA.
Well,
E1B1C,
once again, the
12
tribes. Once again, the last tribe was supposed to be the lightest and brightest of tribes. These are the Jews that we have in Israel.
Well, then I have a whole theory about that, and that goes pretty deep into,
Yeah,
are they actually the? I don't want to make anybody mad on your show, but the truth of the matter is
I mean, yeah,
a lot of those Jews were from the Kharzar Mountains, and they were not from Africa, right? And
once
so
again,
we talk about
the last thing that we make a black woman, right? The last before albino, the last thing that they'll make. What is it? And they're redheaded. Just think about it. What is it that they'll make? We know this in healthcare. An Irishman. That's where they get their red hairedness.
We're talking about Jacob and
Esau.
What
do albinos?
Sure. Well,
characteristics.
We're talking about Jacob and Esau now. We're going all
that's what I'm saying.
the way back, and
the black woman has the DNA, carries the DNA of all colors.
Sure. Yeah, and that's we get into those things,
what did that guy call that? Something genetics, but it's deep down genetics. Like there was
Are you talking about the grafting and the outer grafting of
just in general,
genes?
Just in general, no matter what, no matter what black and brown mix with, unless if it comes from the Caucasus color, Caucasian, then it's going to be of color at that point.
Well, sure, because of the inbreeding of the bloodlines.
Right.
So
but even at them though, they don't like to admit that someone in their history has color in their lineage. Yeah. This is where you have,
because it doesn't play to their favor in society.
Well, this is how you know
it doesn't play for their favor. If you find out that What's the guy that was big famous white guy? He found out that they had slaves, and he's in his history, and he wanted it suppressed.
Well, no, just in
You know,
general, genetics wise, right?
sure.
Pure white. Well, you just say that, right? Pure white. A lot of Europeans are pure white because when an African makes a baby with them, a lot of them don't have deep brown melanin like they do here.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, why? But why is that? So we look at those
Because they haven't been
anomalies.
mixed.
Okay. All right. That's something for definitely for topic for discussion.
Oh yeah.
You know.
That's the thing. Like when you talk, when they talk purity, you know what I mean? That's the thing. When they have more melanin in them.
Well, you know, one of
my little brothers, I got two little brothers that are in Native American and black, Navajo Indian and black.
Okay.
Both of them bright as shit.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's break this down. What is black?
Once again, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Melanin.
Yeah. But see, and these are the terminologies that have been given to us. Right?
I mean, because science has
Right.
broken it down to where you do grasp the church created a whole psychology to create a reason to go out and colonize the world.
Absolutely. It was control.
Right.
It was the whole reason behind it was control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every place they went, they
Sure.
brought the
And even
church.
Christians today that say, well, you know, I'm a Christian, but I'm not a Catholic. Well, just by the order in which you study your doctrine makes you an off branch of the Catholic Church. It just
they
is
don't
what it is.
grasp that because nobody has ever broken it down that all those Bibles come back from Rome.
Well, yeah, and it's not necessarily that what's in the scriptures is wrong, because I don't believe that
we're not talking about not talking about that
is wrong, but there's been things that have been taken out.
There are things that have been added too. Like once again, we're not going to sit there. Me myself, okay, me myself, and I want all ladies to definitely please listen to this. The reason why Eve partaketh in the fruit was because man only gave her one response. Because God said so. You can't tell a woman that statement and think that she's not going to go, why?
Sure.
And the way that it's written out is not given a real accountability of it at all.
Well, let's break it down to what they wanted. He wanted her. She wanted knowledge. I mean, that's a very, it's a dangerously general statement.
That's not even true. We can't even say that. You're right. That is, oh my God. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's process.
General statement.
That's a process. So once again, we was talking about how we are in control, and people used to always say our votes don't count. Our votes don't count. Well, so many people were so upset, right, that they went out and voted out Donald Trump. So what does that tell you when it comes to us saying, again, that our votes don't count? That's a lie. Another way you can figure out if your vote counts, I want you to please watch another Netflix documentary called Whose Vote Counts? Explained. It'll tell you the secrets and all the little information you need to know about your vote, just in general. At the same time, like you were saying though, it's amazing what we do as people to ourselves. especially when it comes to belief and where we are in belief. Like, I can't, for me, myself, I can't stand when people say aliens. And that's just me, myself. For me, myself, I understand that they are angels. They cannot interact with us.
Or maybe they're not angels alone. Maybe they're demons too.
I mean,
maybe
I
they're
already
demons.
know.
Like,
I already know.
You know, and that's the thing is as a possibility because could if we believe in angels, right?
What do you think the Crusades really were?
Well, the Crusades were a move of control and power. That's ultimately what that came.
Isn't it funny how the Crusades came right? The Crusades came, and then the Dark Ages happened.
Sure. Well, before the Crusades were the Moorish people that actually ruled for 200 years in Europe.
I'm just saying though, like,
and we talk about pure blood, right? We talk about pure blood, and there is really no pure blood.
We talk about giants, dwarfs, right?
Yeah, and
we talk about
little Nephilims that have little wings and all that kind of stuff.
But yet nobody thinks that God would make any of those things. But yet aliens aren't angels.
Well, and I think we're going to be very soon. I think we're going to be shocked.
I'm not going to say
I think we're going to be amazed at what comes.
I'm not going to say in our lifetime. I do believe that there are going to be those that hold fast and steady, that become the honest believers of the unknown. Remember, that's what God called it. We have the known that we have,
right?
And then the stuff that God can do is called the unknown.
Well, sure, I will show you mighty things. I will show you things of hidden treasures that are not even known that they're hidden. And God says that He will show us those type of things. So yeah, man. We talk about all these things, right? We talk about technology, we talk about sports, we talk about entertainment, and it looks like we may talk about games, which is all these things are here
you thought about these?
Man. Sure. All these things are here to decrease human. I keep going back to that, to decrease human suffering, right? Because we want to experience, even if it's through a virtual world, right, exactly. We want to experience this. We want to experience, what is it? Because when you're actually cutting the head off of a demon,
being a gladiator, no matter which
what
form,
serotonin is being released in the brain,
any form or fashion. I was telling the homie, I was like, people are so lucky that we cannot, in reality, respawn 30 seconds after we get shot in public. Like, if that was the case, do you know how many people would start work late repeatedly because of the simple fact of getting shot on the highway for driving like an asshole? Oh, what happened to them? Well, while they was driving, you and your car would respond back home. But okay, 30 seconds later.
Okay, but okay. So let's get into this, right?
Go ahead.
Because ultimately, isn't that what we are? Spirits inside of a flesh body.
Right. We just don't get respond. We don't get to respond 30 seconds later.
But we go somewhere.
We get to respond.
Like our spirit goes somewhere and go.
Oh yeah, I think we go back to the guff and go back to the waiting room.
This is what you did.
I think
this is what you didn't do.
Somebody, I can't remember whose album it was in, but somebody's album did a great analogy of life. Our soul is everlasting.
Okay.
Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Right, the Spirit.
Right, that is the individuality that we have at that point, period. Our soul is everlasting. but God being able to give you individuality each and every time. That's a whole different story.
Sure. And that's what you're talking about, touches the ground of some very, very interesting topics, because what you're talking about is, which quintessentially is the gaming um, philosophy, right? Is reincarnation. I mean, think about
I
it.
can dig that, yeah.
Bam, you're dead. You spawn into another place in the video game,
No, you
and
respawn back at home as long as you have a home. If you don't have a home,
but
you and
if
your
I know
car
where you're gonna,
respawn back.
but if I know where you're gonna spawn at, I'm gonna sit there and just wait for you to respawn again. So, he spawned, pow, he's dead again.
Once again,
so then at some point, right? What's the master?
That's when somebody puts
algorithm control that takes over and says, okay, he's being spawn camped.
Once again, that's
right?
the law.
And so we're gonna spawn camp him. So we're gonna spawn him somewhere else.
That's once again, that's when laws are made. Laws that actually make sense. Right. No shooting while you drive if you're the driver. For real. No backseat shooting.
Right. Right.
You don't know what's really going on the road if you're in the backseat of the car. Right. So therefore, no backseat shooting at all. But that would prevent drive-bys right there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Prevent a whole lot of things.
But but just in general, I'm just joking in general. If we responded 10 or 30 seconds later back at the house, like, you know how many people would be losing their jobs? Jobs would be making rules about, you know what? You can only have 10
spawns a day.
10 spawns, period. Like, you better be the best person out there to get to work on time. You can't be late to work.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot be late to work because you got shot, okay, and had to restart. Right. No.
That's heavy.
You only get 10 of those.
That's heavy.
And that's every quarter.
Well, one of my games to go to back in the day was always Halo.
Oh my gosh! I mean, it's turned into a whole nother world.
I can only imagine where it is now. So, it's time for me to maybe play a little.
The newest one just dropped.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! Oh.
The newest Halo just dropped.
I bet you it's a whole nother level, isn't it?
On Xbox has the Series X or Series S. Excuse me, Series S.
Okay.
You have one that is completely online. You can only play the games if they are online.
Wow.
Then you have one that you can you have a computer.
Right. Right.
$600-something piece of equipment.
Wow. Yeah. I remember back in the day where
Nintendo was a $199.
Right.
Remember that? And folks was like, I'm not going to get you $199 game system. Yeah. But then they got it. And
my watch was $500 alone. I'm looking at this watch going, man, I can tell time.
I can
control, speaking of which, I can control music from it that we're listening to, and it makes it nice.
The last iPhones that that were made were actually $1,500.
Really? Is that the cost of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
The actual cost of them. This is why they don't mind, like they're telling people right now. Yes, I'm going to tell on you, Apple. You're telling people that they can trade in their phones and get new phones for the low and not have to pay anything. That is because you will be giving up a $1,500 phone for the new $800 version they are making.
Wow.
So you went from having a computer in your pocket,
right,
to I don't know what thing.
It's very limited.
But they do make their own chip now. Now, I respect y'all on that in general.
I respect that too.
You guys are making your own chip. You have your own operating system. You're doing things. You're doing great. And in the whole little privacy department. I know people are complaining about some of your little. Those are personal business issues that they need to work out. However, how about you? How are you in the gaming system at all? Like you're not in there, or
no, I'm not. I'm not in there from the
do you gamble?
perspective. No, I don't gamble.
Do you sports bet?
I don't sports pay. No, but I do take risk.
I totally
Now this is
understand
now
that.
see now I take risk. I'm not
That's
risk avert. I do take risk.
that's well, you have to.
Yeah, yeah.
That is one of the things that I believe all the people that honestly don't want to live mundane. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If you, not to say that there's something wrong with living mundane. Back in the day, there were those that knew that they were just gonna be okay working as a welder or as a plumber or as, you know what I mean, as an electrician. Those aren't bad things. People think that those are bad things. They're not bad things to be.
No.
They're just those
They're
whose
absolutely
minds,
noble. They're noble professions.
There
Noble
are just
professions.
those
Right.
whose mind thinks a little bit differently and says, "Can I design the building that they're going to build, or can I create the computer that is going to help make any of this possible?"
Yeah.
That's all there is. Some degrees of processing doesn't make people different. The thing that makes people different, how much you're not yourself. That's what makes you different. When you're trying to be somebody else, that is what people cannot understand. Because you yourself are that important of a person, of a being, of a creature, to where you have gotten lost in other people's so-called rapture, to where you have now lost yourself. And you go, "I don't know why people don't understand me." It's not that. You forgot you. Everybody is great in their own way as long as you're given the opportunity to figure out your own way. As the statement goes, children aren't made racist.
No, right, sure.
When's the last time you seen a baby go, "Baby"? And it mean something racist.
Yeah.
Because I don't know baby talk.
Although I did hear a little Tennessee boy come back and he died and came back and he told his parents, and he was a little hillbilly. He told his parents, he said, "Mama," she said, "What?" She said, "Jesus is a nigger."
Shit. What movie was this?
No, this was an actual an account of a kid that I forget, it's on YouTube. A kid that he died, and in the afterlife he came back. He saw Jesus.
This is on
Jesus
YouTube.
was a nigger. Oh yeah, you'll find it. Jesus was a nigger.
Wow. So y'all know
Look it
this
up.
is something to look up for y'all on YouTube. This is
Right.
new. Y'all know this is new. This is fresh and new.
Right. Well, and so, we talk about knowing self, right? And here's the fun thing about games, and I know we're going to probably be out here in a minute, because I drink a whole lot of coffee. I may have to use your services here. but,
not a problem. Not a problem.
We talk about gaming, and what's the opportunity of being different. You can put a skin on, take a skin off. You can be something else. You can be kind of whatever you want to be, right? And so when you come out of that gaming world and you come back into reality. But then what's really reality? See, this gets really deep because are we in the matrix? In the matrix? Oh, let's get heavy now. Let's get heavy. Are we
That's the
within?
thing.
You know,
I once again, this is as we talked about earlier. There are angels. There are demons.
sure. Yes.
There are some people don't know that the devil was an angel. Doesn't make him or doesn't make the devil not a demon. It just means that the devil was and is an angel.
He was an angel. That's right.
I don't
He
know
was
about
truly.
I
He
don't
truly
know
was
about
an
his
angel.
angel. I can't say specifically that
He was music. When he
that
walked, he was music. Music came out of him. So that was the
God's most
worship.
beautifulest creature.
Yeah. Music came. He was
That makes you think of a man.
oh well, God created us a little lower than the angels.
I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying
Yeah.
in general, God's most beautiful angel, God's most perfect angel, God's most harmonious angel.
Mhm.
That gives you man.
Hmm.
Everything about that just says man
Mm. Mm.
in general, right? We do know that Lilith came before.
Yeah.
That
Lilith.
that Eve was created because man felt or God felt that man was lonely,
Yep. And
which explains your
he said man
I was
shall not be
woman
alone.
seeking wisdom, man was seeking comfort,
Yeah,
right?
man wanted her.
Just
She
in
wanted
general, well, not
she
her,
wanted
just
she
man
wanted
just
wisdom.
wanted comfort. We'll
Sure.
just go with that.
Sure. He wanted connection. He wanted comfort. He wanted love. He saw
In
the other animals doing it. He goes, I want to do it too. I can't stick it in that hole.
well, just
I
general,
can't
like
stick it in that hole.
well,
That don't work for that
well,
one.
that's what
Like,
I'm
where's my
saying.
hole to
Like
stick it in?
that whole little thing, like in general, like where does woman sleep when it comes to man? In man's arm. So the snake that woman was talking about. What wakes up before man wakes up? So what's the snake talking to her? The snake spits up.
That's
I
it.
don't know this
That's
language. Man has
that's
not
a
told me
whole,
this
yeah,
language.
yeah.
All I know is that it looks like a snake.
It spits up like a snake, right?
It
Yeah.
looks like a snake. It looked like it was talking to me because
Yeah.
it spit up once again.
Sure. It walks on two legs.
I'm not saying,
Walks upright.
but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Only one that had access to the garden was God.
Right.
Man loves to throw shit in there to make shit relevant, but it really didn't make it relevant. It made everybody question what was the goddamn tree because I don't ever want to touch that tree.
Sure.
And unfortunately, it wasn't that tree. The tree of life. Woman, what did the devil want it to be? Creator. God.
Yeah.
I can't just give you my throne. I am who I am.
Mhm.
I am the beginning and the end.
Right.
To some people, the end is bad.
Mm.
I am the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm.
I am right. I am wrong.
Mm.
I am up. I am down. I am left. I am right.
You know, this is interesting because we're getting on some really heavy spiritual philosophical stuff. You know, I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and they said, well, if God and I couldn't actually answer the question as a person who has studied you know the scriptures for many years. I couldn't actually answer that question. Some maybe not, but for me, I couldn't. And one of those questions was, well, If God is all seeing and all knowing, why would he create a creature that he ultimately would have to knows that he would have to destroy?
Once again, it's not that I'll destroy. That's something man has constantly said. At that note, this conversation's so deep, I totally understand we have to go, though.
Yeah,
My guest, Vincent Johnson, I am grateful and thankful for you coming on. Please, everyone, conversation rules the nation. Action speaks louder than words. Remember that. Have a great rest of your day.
Peace.
My God.
Heavy.
That was deep. Wow.
That was heavy, bro. That was heavy, man. That was heavy. And I got